This lesson gives you an overview of how to answer a Task 1. Once you've studied the general structure, you can view other examples by looking at the model graphs that are on the IELTS Buddy website. So let's look at the steps to respond to an IELTS Writing Task 1. So to analyse this, we'll look at a line graph. Look at the following question and the graph. So you see the questions asking you, the line graph below shows changes in the amount and types of fast food consumed by Australian teenagers from 1975 to 2000. And you have to summarise the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons. There are three basic things you need to structure an IELTS Writing Task 1. You need to introduce the graph, give an overview, and give the detail. So we'll look at each of these in turn. So introducing the graph. So you need to begin with one or two sentences that state what the IELTS Writing Task 1 shows. To do this, paraphrase the title of the graph, making sure you put it in a time frame if there is one. Here is an example for the above line graph. So the line graph compares the fast food consumption of teenagers in Australia between 1975 and 2000, a period of 25 years. So you can see that this says the same thing as the title, but in a different way. So this was the title. So you see it's been paraphrased. So the next thing you need to do is to give an overview. Now this states what the main trends in the graph are, trend or trends. Don't give details such as data here. You're just looking for something that describes what is happening overall. One thing that stands out in this graph is that one type of fast food fell over the period, while the other two increased. So this would be a good overview. So here's an example. Overall, the consumption of fish and chips declined over the period, whereas the amount of pizza and hamburgers that were eaten increased. So this covers the main changes that took place over the whole period. You may sometimes see this overview as a conclusion. It does not matter if you put this in the conclusion or the introduction when you do an IELTS Writing Task 1, but you should provide an overview in one of these places. The next thing is giving the detail. You can do this in the body paragraphs. When you give the detail in your body paragraphs in your IELTS Writing Task 1, you must make reference to the data. The key to organising your body paragraphs for an IELTS Task 1 is to group the data together where there are patterns. To do this, you need to identify any similarities and differences. So look at the graph. So what things are similar and what things are different? Well, as we have already identified in the overview, the consumption of fish and chips declined over the period, whereas the amount of pizza and hamburgers that were eaten increased. So it's clear that pizza and hamburgers were following a similar pattern, but fish and chips were different. So on this basis, you can use these as your groups and focus one paragraph on fish and chips and the other ones on pizza and the other one on pizza and hamburgers. So here's an example of the first paragraph. So in 1975, the most popular fast food was fish and chips, and it explains how much this was eaten, and it was far higher than pizza and hamburgers, which were consumed 5 times a year. However, apart from a brief rise from 1980 to 85, the consumption of fish and chips gradually declined over the 25-year time frame to finish at just under 40. And the second body paragraph then focuses on the other foods. You can see in sharp contrast to this, teenagers ate the other two fast foods at much higher levels. You can pause it if you want to read that, or you can see these sample answers on the IELTS Buddy website. There's a link to the website explanation below. Okay, so here is the full model answer. So here you've got your introduction showing what the graph shows and your overview, identifying the main trends. Remember, again, there's no data in there because you can get penalised for putting data in there. And then you've got your first body paragraph explaining what fish and chips did. You can still compare that to some of the other ones, like it does mention pizzas and hamburgers. So you want to make sure you do make comparisons. But this paragraph, though, is about fish and chips. And then finally, we have the other two fast foods discussed. So head to the IELTS Buddy website and you can see lots of sample answers of IELTS graphs to see the best way to write them. And we've got all sorts of graphs on there, the pie charts, tables, and all you need to know for your IELTS Writing Task 1.